Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about the new structure deck that just came out, Gaia. Now, Gaia, notably, isn't good. I'm just gonna say it right now. It's not a good archetype. However, I decided to take the challenge that I always do, where I take just the cards from the structure deck and see how good of a deck I can make. Now, obviously, this is not something that you can do, but it does give you a basic understanding of what cards do and more or less how they function. So, I read the cards, and none of them are good. But let's quickly do the card by card and explain what this deck aims to do. So we're going to start off with this card right here, Gaia, the Magical Knight of Dragons. Now, if you are familiar with Duel Links, you may be familiar with this card. This card was meta for quite some time, or more specifically Gaia, because of this card. This card basically just has a quick effect pop. That's all it is. During the main phase, quick effect pop by getting rid of all of your attack points. 2,600 attack points down the drain to pop a card. That's it. That's all that it does. Oh, also, it becomes Gaia, the Dragon Champion, on the field. And it technically can gain additional attack points. Yeah, how is this card meta? I don't know. Anyway, so it's based off of Gaia the Dragon Champion, a fusion summon from the early DM eras that has been retrained into a few different versions. Basically, all of these cards, well, specifically Sky Galloping Gaia, as well as Gaia the Magical Knight of Dragons, both have the same text of becoming Gaia the Dragon Champion, so that they can synergize with the Galloping Gaia and the like. We also have Curse of Dragon, the Magical Knight Dragon, which is a pretty decent fusion as well. So basically, the idea of this structure deck is BLS, or Blackluster Soldier, and Gaia. Now, notably, the BLS stuff is bad because it's all rituals. It's all just ritual monsters and ritual summoning, which makes it not exactly all that great. It's going to be inconsistent. It's going to be lackluster. Summoning a BLS can be powerful, but it's going to be a lot more inconsistent. Whereas this version, or the Gaia half of the deck, tends to be a lot more consistent, which is why I played this half. Now, there's technically like two different decks in here. You could play the BLS version, or you could play the Gaia version. I don't really think they synergize very well together, so kind of choose one or the other. I chose this version. So let's quickly do the card by card. We have Artillery Catapult Dragon, which just special summons a Gaia, the Fierce Knight, or a level 5 dragon from your hand or deck. Very nice. Tribute it, summon it. Pretty nice. Loses to Called By, loses to Ash, but alas, here we are. Then we are playing 2 Gaia, the Fierce Knight Origin, which can special summon itself, treat itself as 2 tributes for a normal summon of your monster, and then also has the ability to, during the battle phase, banish itself in order to target a monster on the field whose attack is different from its original attack, and then make itself, or make that card have its original attack. Meaning that if you end up activating the effect of your Magical Knight of Dragons to pop a card, you can then, in the battle phase, restore its attack. Pretty nice. Next up, we have the dragons. We have the Curse of Dragonfire, which is just a fusion spell. That's all it is. On summon, or not on summon, but once per turn, you fusion summon it using monsters you control. And then Curse of a Dragon, which is absolutely insane. But Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon, for some reason that is the name of it. If this card is normal or special, you can add a spell trap that specifically lists Gaia the Dragon Champion in its text. This is very nice because it gets you the fusion spell, which we'll talk about in a second. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Gaia the Dragon Champion in your main, or in your monster zone, negate the effects of face-up monsters who currently have less attack than it, less attack or equal to it, until the end of the turn, and with the ability to summon a Gaia the Dragon Champion off of Spiral Fusion, which boosts by an additional 2,600. That means that all monsters except for something with 5,300 attack points or more is negated, which means basically everything. So that's pretty nice. And next up, we have ourselves the Gaia, charging Gaia the Fierce Knight. It's just a body. But if it is tributed, you can also add a BLS monster from your deck to your hand, which gives us access to this guy. But most importantly, he's just a light Gaia monster that we can utilize for Galloping Gaia as well as the fusion spell. That's basically it. We have triple Gaia the Magical Knight. This card is absolutely crazy. It's always treated as Gaia the Fierce Knight card, and if you control no monsters or your opponent controls a 2300 attack point monster, 2300 or more attack point monster, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Just absolutely insane for no reason. And if it is normal summoned, you can special summon a level 5 dragon from your hand or deck, or grave in defense position. This is it's just a good card. But more importantly, it gets you access to the Curse of Dragon or the Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon. Curse of Dragon Fire, or the Cursed Dragon. Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon. Dear Lanta, this card is so bad. Terrible name. But this will trigger both of these guys in order to, go into a fusion spell. So, yeah, there's that. Then we have, of course, BLS. This card's crazy. Banish a Light in the Dark. Banish a card in the field, or banish a monster on the field, double attack, 3,000 attack points, just overall pretty solid. We're also playing one Envoy of Evening Twilight. The reason for this card is because it is just able to kind of deal with specific cards, target a monster on the field, banish it, banish a random card from your opponent's hand face down until your opponent's end phase. It's also just kind of big as well, and is one of the ways of just like getting another body onto your field. He rarely came up. Next up, we have Soldier Gaia, the Fierce Knight, which allows you to tribute a Dragon Fusion monster in order to special summon this card from your hand. Then if it is special summoned, you can target an attack position monster on the field, change it to defense position. This was another one of the reasons why Gaia was a top tier in Duel Links, being able to go into this guy, pop a card, and then during the battle phase, tribute him in order to go into this guy to basically prevent your opponent from actually dealing with your board through battle, was absolutely insane. Next up, we have Spiral Fusion. It's just a fusion spell. However, it also allows you to if you special summon Gaia, the Dragon Champion, it allows you to boost it by 2600 and to have 2 attacks on monsters specifically during each battle phase. Next up, we have Chaos Space. Pretty simple card. It allows us to grab BLS, so it's pretty nice. Next up, we have Gateway of Chaos. It just searches out basically any of our monsters that we need, except for the dragons, I guess, but searches out all the others, which is nice. We also have Galloping Gaia. Oh, sorry, no, it doesn't actually search out the BLSs because it's not a ritual. So it just searches out the Gaia monsters. Sorry. We have Galloping Gaia. This card is very, very good. During the battle phase, if you have a Dragon Champion, your opponent cannot activate cards. Just straight up cannot activate them. Also, you can reveal a Gaia to add a level 5 dragon, or you can reveal a dragon, level 5 dragon, to add a Gaia. Pretty simple. This card is absolutely crazy, and again, one of the reasons why it was top tier in Duel Links, because you got this through a skill. However, we're playing 3 of it because it's pretty good. Next up, we have the Spiral Spear Strike. This is a search target off of the this guy Galloping Gaia in order to allow us to inflict piercing battle damage and OTK more efficiently. You will see that. This is mostly an OTK deck. We have a few traps in here. Most of them are bad and never came up, especially this one. In fact, I would dare say cut this one and play more like dragons or something like that. I don't know. Just like all of the BLS stuff was kind of mid. I don't even know if playing 3 of this is necessarily a good idea, but alas, I had it. There's not really any good cards, so who cares? And yeah, that's basically it for the deck. Oh, one thing to note is Curse of Dragon can also add back the Spiral Fusion. So you can go Spiral Fusion, fusion into this guy. This guy will then add back the Spiral Fusion. And Spiral Fusion is not a hard once per turn, so you can use it again in order to fusion summon. And then you can also use monsters from your graveyard as material as well, if you want to fusion summon out one of these guys. So there's that. You could also technically summon this guy, but why would you? Anyway, let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so we want to go second with this deck, so of course we're going second. And the reason for that is because our turn 1 board is just basically Gaia the Dragon Champion, pass. That's more or less it. So my opponent is playing Dark Magician, because of course they are. Gotta have the anime duels in here, right? They're gonna grab up the Dark Magical Circle, and then they're going to activate the Soul Servant in order to stack the deck with Dark Magician. Now, seeing that, I'm like, okay, they probably don't have an actual Dark Magician in their hand, so I'm feeling pretty good. We also drew the Spiral Fusion, which is pretty funny. So we're gonna activate the effect in order to of our Artillery Catapult Turtle to grab up the Curse of Dragon, which will then add the Galloping Gaia. Galloping Gaia's effect will then be activated, or sorry, it will be activated to activate the effect, and then reveal another one in order to grab up the second Curse of Dragon. We're then going to fusion off our 2 monsters in order to go into Gaia the Magical Knight of Dragons, and then activate the effect to negate the Magician's Rod because it's funny. Out comes BLS, and my opponent realizes that the game is over at that point, and yeah, that's more or less how the deck is supposed to function. Alright, so here we are once again going second, and we drew the combo. That's the important part. My opponent's going to set a whole bunch of cards and pass. So we are going to draw into Gaia, Soldier Gaia the Fierce Knight, which is pretty nice. That means we have the OTK, and I'll show you here in a second how. So we're going to go for the Curse of Dragon, which will, we're going to go for the Galloping Gaia to reveal Curse of Dragon to grab up a Gaia monster, but that's going to be negated. Not that big of a deal, as long as they don't have something like Called By or Imperm. And it goes through. Fantastic. So we are going to special summon Gaia, the Magical Knight, in order to special summon the Curse of Dragon. Curse of Dragon will grab up the Spiral Fusion. Spiral Fusion will then be activated, and we are going to go into, that is right, the Sky Galloping Gaia. The reason we go for this one is because it adds the Spiral Spear. So we're going to add up the Spiral Spear Strike, activate its effect, and then special summon out our BLS by banishing a Light and a Dark. We're going to then proceed to battle, not switch this guy due to the effect of our Sky Galloping Gaia, and just deal 4,000 in piercing battle damage. This will also allow us to draw 2 and then discard 1. We're going to draw 2, we draw the 2 field spells, which is funny, and then we're going to discard the BLS. We're going to deal 3k, and now we can actually tribute off our last monster in order to special summon this. Just kidding, they have Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Who in their right mind is playing this card? That's fine. It's fine. We didn't need to OTK. It's BLS pass. Sure. So, that's going to be negated, but we still have it in hand for the follow-up. We're then going to activate the Gateway of Chaos in order to grab up our Gaia the Fierce Knight Origin, because it's just kind of the best one for us to have as a follow-up. Anyway, our opponent draws into the Harpy's Feather Duster. Honestly, not that big of a deal since we already have the Galloping Gaia in hand. So, there's that. They're going to set a card and pass. Yeah, alright, sure. I draw into the third BLS. We're going to activate the Galloping Gaia, activate the effect of the Galloping Gaia in order to reveal and add to our hand the Curse of Dragon. And then I'm going to banish their monster so that we can tribute summon the Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon. We banished a Giant Rex, which is hilarious. So, out comes the Curse of Dragon. We're going to add the Spiral Fusion, activate the Spiral Fusion in order to fusion summon. We're going to use the Origin in order to go into Gaia, the Magical Knight of Dragons. My opponent realizes the writing on the wall and is going to concede here. Good game. Alright, so what happens if we end up going first? Well, I'll show you. Basically, this is what we end on. So we're going to activate our Gateway of Chaos. We're going to add to our hand the Gaia the Magical Knight. We're then going to activate our Galloping Gaia to reveal the Gaia the Magical Knight in order to grab up the Curse of Dragon. This is basically always what we're doing. We're going to then normal summon to special summon and then activate the effect in order to grab up the Spiral Fusion. We're going to activate the Spiral Fusion. We're going to tribute off in order to go into the Gaia the Magical Knight of Dragons and just pass. This is the play. Now, with Duel Links, we actually had a skill that added consistency, and so we could add and play back row in order to do this same thing more efficiently. And also with 20 cards, you're more likely to see the cards that you actually need. So, there's that. However, now, we can't do that, because we have to just be consistent. And this is the play. All this does is it pops a single card. But we're playing against Galaxy Eyes, so maybe this does it. And there's the pass. Now, notably, I think what ended up happening here is because they saw that this was main phase only, they were like, I'm going to bait out main phase by proceeding to the end phase. And I let that go through, and then they go, oh shoot, I still wanted to do things. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that is the case, but given the way that they actually did this, where they went Galaxy Eye, or Galaxy Wizard to add a Galaxy card and didn't add Galaxy Soldier or something like that, means that they probably did have plays and just wanted to prevent, like, you know, have me activate the Gaia, but I didn't. So there you go. I'm not entirely sure that that's what happens, but yeah, we're going to pop their Torrential Tribute. What the heck? Okay, maybe they did brick. We're going to add the Curse of Dragon here, and then we're going to normal summon the Artillery Catapult Dragon, or Artillery Catapult Turtle, and then special summon the Gaia. This will special summon the one from the grave, or the Curse of Dragon from the grave, and then we're going to go and fusion summon once again. This time we're going to go for the Curse of Dragon, the Magical Knight Dragon, to add back the Spiral Fusion, and then activate it again in order to fusion off by vanishing from the grave into the Sky Galloping Gaia to grab up the Spiral Spear Strike and proceed to battle. This is well over lethal as well, so we're going to attack for 23, 2000, and 52. Good game. Alright, and once again, we are going first. Let's see what we can do. So we're going to start off with the Gateway of Chaos, activating the effect, which will promptly get ashed. Okay, not that big of a deal. Okay, it is that big of a deal because we can't really do anything with this hand because it's really bad, but that's fine. We're going to add the charging, or the Curse of Dragon. We're going to pitch the Curse of Dragon in order to add the BLS to our hand, and then just pass from there. Not really a whole lot that we can do. Just, okay, go, don't kill me. They are playing Red Eyes, and seeing them normal summon the Black Stone of Legend, I'm like, okay, we're fine. That is a very bad normal summon, and it means that their hand is pretty lackluster, because they're not starting with the fusion spell. Out comes the Red Eyes fusion, and they're just going to pass. They can't attack because they burned us with the effect of the Inferno Fire Blast. We draw Gateway of Chaos, which is hilarious, but we are going to grab up the Curse of Dragon, the Cursed Dragon, and then also grab up the Gaia the Magical Knight. Gaia the Magical Knight effect, yada yada. You've seen this. You know what's gonna happen. We're gonna grab the Spiral Fusion, activate the Spiral Fusion. We're gonna send the one from hand, or the Gaia from hand, in order to go into the Sky Galloping Gaia, and then activate the effect in order to grab up the Spiral Spear Strike. We're gonna banish 2, activate the Spiral Spear Strike, and then proceed to battle. We're gonna switch this guy to defense position using the Sky Galloping Gaia's effect in order to put it to defense and then deal piercing. This will then draw 2, discard 1, and then we have it well over lethal with the rest of the attacks. Good game. Alright, so we're back with the deck, and 2 things. 1, how good is this deck when it comes to, compared to the structure decks? Really bad. It's one of the worst decks, or structure decks that we have gotten, besides the ones that came out, like, on release, where they were all just really bad and didn't give, like, anything. Yeah, none of these cards are necessarily things that you would want, besides, like, I guess, like, Chaos Face is kind of generic, and BLS is also kind of generic, or I should say Soldier of Chaos is kind of generic. Other than that, basically every other card is only in here to serve the decks that they are that they are for, unlike things like you know, the Salomon Great structure deck, or the Dark Magician structure deck, etc. Right? So pretty bad value, and the deck's not even good, right? And 2, this deck plays very similar to if you were playing like a stat check champion in, like, or a character, I should say, in like an MMO or an RPG, right? Imagine like Dr. Mundo, old Dr. Mundo from League of Legends, where you just kind of ran at your opponent and either they died or they didn't. That's it. That's all that happens. This feels very bland and very boring. It kind of does things. It kind of hits hard, but not even that much. It kind of has interaction, but not even that much. It kind of has recursion, but not really that much. It doesn't do anything special. Like, the fusion isn't unique or anything. Like, these are all things that have already been done a million times over and in a million better decks. So, all in all, I wouldn't recommend playing it. If you really like Gaia, that's fine. Go ahead. Play the deck. That's okay. But if you want to play it because you think that it is an interesting or unique deck, or like it will have fun gameplay, it won't. I'm just going to tell you right now, it won't. It's pretty bland. It's pretty boring. Even this card is mid, right? Yeah, it's just, there isn't really anything to say. It's not even a good OTK deck, and it's not even a fun OTK deck. Like, you're better off playing Numeron, I'm not gonna lie. Just play Numeron. Numeron does this, but more interesting and better. There you go. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.